Hi everybody, I'm Franco Lourens from Lourens Family Wines, and this is the first episode of The Art of Blending. We're standing here in our Grenache vineyard on Paardenberg in the Swartland. And yeah, a little bit about the family business. And when I say a family business, it really is only myself. You know, I'm the only employee of the company. We're a small company based in Paarl, just next door from here, where I was born and grew up. I started Lourens Family Wines in 2016. I started in the industry, in my first job was about 2006. I started Lourens Family Wines while I was working for a guy called Chris Alight in the Hemelade Valley. He was kind enough to offer me the opportunity where there was not maybe enough wines for 2 full-time winemakers. He said, listen, if you can come and help me make the Alight vineyard wines, then you can do a little bit of your own thing. And that's sort of how it started. You know, we grew a little bit since then. For me, you know, the winemaking is a small part of the actual bottle of wine that you'll be drinking from Lourens Family Wines. You know, if you look at this space where we're standing now, I feel like this is pretty much what I try to capture in the wines. It's all about making wines that represents the area, that represents this block of vineyards, the people that's here, the vineyard, you know, the location, the site, the soils, the smells, all of that. So, you know, all of the wines create something that takes you to a specific space. When it comes to the actual winemaking, it's very straightforward. I try not to intervene too much in the vineyards, in the cellar. I think, you know, once I have the grapes, it's pretty straightforward from there. And the cellar itself, if we talk about the whites, you know, and the reds, I don't add any yeast or fining agents or enzymes. Everything is spontaneous fermentation, and it goes into older neutral oak barrels for anything between 9, 10, 11 months. And from there on, it's bottled, and then I keep it in bottle for about 9 months before we release any wine to the public. Okay, so basically today I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the Howard John. Howard John is the red blend that I spoke about a bit earlier, named after my old man, Howard John Lourens. Howard John is in the red blend, 3 varieties in there from 1 region, from 3 different farms. So the one that we're standing on now is the actual vineyard, which is the base of this blend. This is about 62% of the blend is from this vineyard, and it forms the heart of what I try to do. You know, I think the lovely thing about Grenache is you got this power with elegancy. You know, it's a variety. It brings depth and flavor, but also sort of a lightness to it in a way. This sort of elegancy probably is probably the best word that I can describe the Grenache component. And then the second component is Cinsault. Cinsault, you know, it's always been around. I think only, you know, it's the last few years that Cinsault has really made a comeback, in the sense that a lot of producers are producing it as a single varietal wine. You know, and the thing that I love about the Cinsault and the Howard John is the fact that, you know, it sort of brings this approachability, drinkability, lightness to the wine, sort of the freshness to the blend. So that's the sort of the component that sort of brings that element. And then lastly is the Syrah. The Syrah is the one that sort of brings the grunt, the power. You know, it's sort of the bad boy out of the 3, where this element, you know, this variety sort of brings that sort of, you want to have a glass of red, it brings that substance and presence and feel to the wine, the grippiness, and you know, that makes it a red wine, you know, with power. And then when you add it back together, you get something that's sort of drinkable, approachable, but very serious at the same time, with the aging potential. And that's always the sort of wine that I want to try to create when I was making the Howard John. So what I think we'll do is I'll just sort of run through the different components as we talk about them. These are the actual 3 components of this wine. So I think let's start there. So first up is the Grenache from this vineyard. So this is in 2025. This is the first vintage that is 100% cement. So these has only been in cement vessels. So yeah, I think the first thing that you can find from this Grenache and the fact that it wasn't cement, there's sort of this freshness, this purity. It's a really good indication of this vineyard. There's no influence of wood, there's no influence of sugar. It's bone dry. So this is sort of the purest form of this wine that I can make from this specific vineyard. Yeah, so it's got that sort of freshness. Obviously it's 25, so it's still early days, but I like the fact that it's got this sort of grippiness and texture and tension on the wine without being wood influenced or having RS sugar. So that was the first component, Grenache from this vineyard. Second component, Cinsault. The Cinsault is just on the other side where we're standing over here. It's right as you exit Malmesbury on your way to Darling. It's also dryland bush vines. For me, as I mentioned, the Cinsault gives it sort of freshness, approachability, drinkability to the blend. Yeah, it's just got this sort of, it's got this energy, like it's bright, it's open, it's got a lot of strawberries and red fruits, and yeah, it's a lovely fresh component of the blend that sort of freshens up the whole thing and sort of gives it sort of this vibrancy and energy to the blend. So the last component then is Syrah. So Syrah, for me, brings that sort of depth, flavor, concentration, backbone, gives it the tannin, the mouthfeel. And this Syrah is actually just down the road here. It's just over there. It's from Adi Badenhorst's farm. So the Syrah is the bad boy. That is the one that's gonna bring that sort of grunt and power. The Cinsault I pick early, that brings the freshness, acidity and approachability. And the Grenache is sort of halfway between the two. It's got that sort of elegancy, perfuminess, but it also has that sort of body and grunt, which is lovely about Grenache. Then we're gonna taste the Howard John 2023. So the blend we're gonna taste today is a 23 vintage of these different components. This year it's 42% Grenache and then 29% Cinsault, 29% Syrah. 23 for me was, for Lourens Family Wines, was a good vintage in the sense that I like the fact that it's got sort of, the wines are pretty tight and focused, but it also has an element of sort of openness and giving you really what you're looking for, which I quite enjoy about the 23s. So yeah, so this is the 23 Howard John. Oh, it tastes a bit more like wine, eh? I'm Frank Lourens from Lourens Family Wines, and this is the first episode of The Art of Blending.